this is a no-on-K rally, and the folks who are brought here are on our side on this issue, and they're going to basically explain why and talk about some of the issues that have come to the fore, starting with our planning director of, yes, because there's been much confusion out there about the nature of our decision and what would happen, especially on Measure K, if Measure K was defeated. And I think Rob, who served as our planning director of San Benito County for, what, 25 years, is probably more equipped to explain what's going on than any of the folks who are in those positions at this point. So thank you, Rob.
Let me start with one of the latest misconceptions that's been pushed out there. The one that if you don't vote yes, the county's going to be sued to high heaven for a taking. I find it interesting that 1 minute there, the other side's talking about how there's nothing approved and it'll all be looked at later, and then the next minute is, if you vote for this, then we'll be sued to high heaven and you'll owe the developers all this money. Well, the reality is they have no vested right. They don't even have the zoning, because the action
There you go. Thank you.
the action that has been taken is the referendum, and that stayed the ordinance. So the ordinance isn't in effect, and neither is any of their other aspects. And so there's no taking going on here. I find it interesting that some of the court cases that are cited are very extreme cases, and they're just not applicable. And, you know, I don't want to try to compare a sand dune in South Carolina to what's going on here, but that's what they're doing. So I don't think you need to worry about that, and there is no taking. Then there's the statement that, oh, the C1 will let people do so much more and be so much worse off. Well, if you analyze the C1, there are 11 permitted uses, and there are 14 named uses. If you analyze the C3, there's 30 listed uses, and there's 53 named uses within those 30. And that's just the beginning, because the aspect of it is, if you put something else in the master plan and we approve it, then we can do that too. So it's got enough openings that you could do just about anything in these C3 zones. And to speak that C1 would be a lot worse is just a misnomer. Also, they happen to throw in 30 units of housing in each of the 4 nodes, which is just amazing to me. Hotels, housing, everything you ever wanted. So, and there's no housing in a C1 or C2 zone, so just misrepresented to the max. Another aspect is the general plan. They say, oh, well, you got to do this because the general plan's got to be consistent with the zoning. No, we got to do this right now. It's like, well, if it had to be consistent right now, it should have been consistent in 2015 when they adopted it. It has to be consistent at some point. It has to be, there's a reasonableness of the timeline. There's other ways to deal with it as well. You can change those designations, and quite frankly, it appears that that's where this organization seems to be going. They could also change it to phasing it, so it could go in over time. Other things can also be done. So the The consistency question is, yeah, we'll get it consistent. We'll get it worked out. In fact, it's being worked on now through public policy, and you all are participating. When you go cast your ballot, if they don't hear you down at the courthouse, then, or the board chambers or wherever, then there are other actions that can be taken. And we'll get to those, hopefully we don't have to. It is truly amazing to me that just about any planner, an entry-level planner in this state, knows that the California Environmental Quality Act requires environmental analysis, and it requires it at the earliest possible time in a project. Not we'll get to it later. They did no additional environmental studies on this project. After 5 years, they want to rely on an ancient, and in the way things have changed, it's ancient, traffic reports and all the other environmental studies. It's truly unbelievable that they would try to get away with that. And it's, quite frankly, embarrassing that our county is trying to pull that and pull it over on the people. Almost amazing as that is, they make all these, oh, we're going to have all this money. Oh, yeah, I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Oh, I have a better idea. We'll have somebody else pay for the hamburger. There isn't an economic study in the world that has gone into this. It's all anecdotal. Oh, we'll get sales tax. Yeah, there will be many additional costs. It is truly amazing that the statements that are being made are not backed up by anything. So there are no economic analysis. The another one that galled me, and I brought this up last time, was, oh, this is smart growth. Oh my God. Smart growth came from community planning. It really came from, started with the Awani principles. And it came from community-oriented and small community-oriented, walkable communities to preserve open space, farmland, natural beauty, to create neighborhoods and a place of space, to allow people to live and interact in communities. This has nothing to do, this is walkable, it's all auto-oriented, give me a break here. It doesn't approach any of the definition of smart growth. So, those are some of the debunkings of the bull Twinkies that are pumped out. I got a flyer today in the mail, many of you may have, that, you know, the sheriffs and the police, oh, we're gonna have lots of money to do that. It's like, what? I don't think so. And I just walking up this evening, I was chatting with a friend, and I brought up a fact that, you know, why don't I bring this up? In the last 15 years, the county has sawed through, in the area of $30 million of reserve funds. Somebody ought to look into the fact that the place has not been run well. It simply has not. You were asked, I think about a year ago, maybe a little more, to vote for a sales tax measure for roads. Well, nobody brought up the fact that in the roughly 2007, 2008, in that area, the county dropped the road impact fees by, and I don't know, 70 or 90%. They allowed the development interests to walk away with another 28 or 30 million dollars. All this growth that has gone on for less money. I can also bring up the fact that in the same era, they eliminated the requirement to build 20% affordable units on developments. So this county has been run amok at the will of the development interests, and the Board of Supervisors has gotten down on one knee and given it away continually. And there doesn't seem to be an end. So please go vote, tell your neighbors.
We look back at the days when we actually had somebody who knew planning as our planning director. Our concerns right now are, our current director came down from the redevelopment agency from San Jose. That should make you feel really uncomfortable. That's what we've hired, because that's the vision. I heard somebody, when I was handing out flyers the other day, say, if they get these developments through, we're gonna be living in Gillister. I said, Gillister? And they said, that's the merged community of Gilroy and Hollister without any stop between. And you can imagine what kind of traffic there'd be in Gillister.